Hello, I'm Nicola Minko, CEO at Serpact. I have more than 6 years in SEO. My focus in SEO is on technical SEO, Google AMP, local SEO, and structured data.
Welcome everyone to the second edition of Serpact, the series of webinars of Serpact. My name is Dido. I'm the head of SEO at Serpact with almost 15 years in SEO, and the main focus technical SEO, content optimization, and semantic SEO.
As you know, this is Serpact's second webinar, and we are very excited to start with Eric Yang. Hello, Eric. You're a very good friend of ours, and we like to say thank you for having the chance to be at your office in Boston and to pass your super qualified and reputable SEO internship. Eric Yang is General Manager of Proficient Digital, a full-service award-winning digital agency. Previously, Eric was the founder and CEO at Stone Temple, also an award-winning digital marketing agency, which was acquired by Proficient in 2020 in July. He is a prolific writer, researcher, teacher, a sought-after keynote speaker, and panelist at major industry conferences.
So, Eric, may you share some more info about you, some more interesting facts, and something about your recent journey to Proficient Digital?
Sure.
Hello.
So you want some fun facts first?
Yes.
Fun and interesting facts, both of them.
So if you're familiar with a game which in the US we call foosball, it's a soccer but played on a table. So in 1984 I was world champion of one of the events in foosball, and 1985 U.S. national champion. That's a long time ago, but it is a fun fact about me that I was a ranked pro player on the world tour at that time. So that's a fun fact. But more about sort of my background, if you will. I'm basically a technical guy who someone somewhere along the way decided that I knew how to speak. So they started putting me in front of people to talk about technical topics. But I still enjoy diving deep into tech stuff and like learning things and figuring out how it works and trying to figure out how to make it work better. We try to do that with all our clients here at Proficient Digital. That's a little bit more about me. For the process of becoming a part of Proficient, that actually happened on July 16th of this year. It's been a really interesting journey. A lot of hard stuff to do with changing how you do things like report time and stuff like that. It's good for us because now we're combined with other services that we didn't offer at Stone Temple, like paid search or conversion optimization or analytics. These were things that we weren't doing, and it's really nice to be able to talk about those things.
So your life is full of challenges today.
Yes, fresh challenges. Good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so today's topics are about the future snippets and the voice search, one of the most trendiest topics of the world in SEO at the moment. So we would like to start with the future snippets.
Yes. Eric, is it possible for a website to be optimized for featured snippets? Because we see a lot of controversy over the subject on the web.
So it's a really interesting topic area. There's a lot of people talking about how to get featured snippets on the web. Unfortunately, a lot of the information out there is based on people's belief and emotion about how it should work rather than on data. So But the short answer is there are ways, things you can do to increase your chances of getting featured snippets. I'll be happy to talk through what I think that process is.
Yes.
But also talk a little bit about some myths. So, things that people think this is how it works, but it isn't true. But let me start with sort of what I think the process is.
Yeah, go ahead.
So first and foremost, you have to find out what common questions users are asking that are related to your business or market space. So, and I'm talking about informational questions. So if you have a company that's selling life insurance, what are the most common questions that users might ask about life insurance? How much life insurance do I need? And what are the options? And questions like these. And these are usually the best kinds of things to target for trying to get featured snippets. Google is far more likely to give you a featured snippet, your site, in response to a user's informational query. So, you're not probably going to get a featured snippet for a question like, how much does your life insurance policy cost? Commercial queries like that. That's not what Google's trying to do with that. You have to focus on the informational queries. And so that's the first part, is to realize that. Once you've realized that I'm going to focus on informational queries, then you need to think about, well, what's the right way to build the content? So, if the query is, I'm going to change my example here just to make it a little easier to think about. The user's query might be something like, how do I reset my iPhone? A really simple informational query. And so you can think of, okay, well, here's the 5-step process to resetting my iPhone, and that's good content to have. But what I find is the most successful featured snippets come from pages where the what's the user's next question? I don't just answer the one direct question, how to reset my iPhone, but the user might have 4 or 5 other related questions that they're asking, or they have in their mind. So they don't just want to know how to reset the iPhone, but they have some other things they want to know that they need to do with their iPhone. So if I can build my content so it answers this question about how to reset the iPhone, but that it also answers these other very closely user-related questions, Google will potentially see that as a more valuable piece of content. They're more likely to give the featured snippet to that more valuable piece of content, not only because they answer the user's direct question, but they also answer what's likely to be the user's next question, the question after that. This is where you create really good content that has the best chance of ranking for featured snippets, in my opinion.
So do you mean that if, for example, think about the order of these questions, and if we put them in our content on one page, making one very informative page with rich value, we will be able to cover more and earn more featured snippets on Google?
I think so. And I'm going to give a better example, because the iPhone question is a great example. And I'm just going to go to an actual case study of something that we did just using the Stone Temple site. The first featured snippets that we ever pursued were for questions like, what does a no index tag do? Or what does a no follow tag do? All right, really good basic SEO questions, right? When we researched that, we said, okay, somebody's asking the question, or maybe it was how to implement a no follow. I apologize, I don't remember actually what we did, but it was something like that. But we'll stay with what does a no follow tag do. All right, so the user asked that. The next question probably is, how do I implement one? And how do I choose when to implement one? And what does the code look like? Those are the follow-on questions that are probably already in the user's mind. They started with, what does a no-follow tag do? But they very much also want to know the other questions. So if you created a page which only answers the what does a no-follow tag do, and you give a really good answer to that, and that's it. But the user really wanted the answer to those other questions too.
Yes.
Who wants you to see past that immediate one thing to a deeper, more valuable user experience by answering not just only the question the user already asked, but understanding that this probably means that the customer or the user is on a journey and they want to know everything about no-follow. They started with the first question, but they really want the complete answer. So this addresses one of the myths that I hear about featured snippets. You'll see people tell you that your featured snippets no more than 100 words, or they might say 50 words or something like that. And it's almost like they're advising people to go off and create these 50 or 70 or 100 word pages that's only content on them. And they're like telling people this is the best way to get featured snippets. It's not.
No, it's not, for sure. It's not.
You got to create that better informational experience. Consider the total user's journey as to everything they're likely looking at. And there's good ways to do this. You can look at people also ask boxes or Google search suggest, or go to your customer support team at your business. What are the questions you're getting? Oh, they ask a question about no follow, and they ask this question a lot. What are the other questions they're asking about no follow? And now you're getting some ideas to how to build your content.
Yeah.
And also, if we see the things from the sales management perspective, maybe we can ask the sales team about the most common questions, frequently asked questions, and after that we can build a whole page full of value, with a good content to provide the answers there, right?
Exactly. So very, very good resource as well.
Yeah, but Eric, like example, we should not serve like FAQ page with many question and answer. You give recommendation for different type of content. Yeah, not like standard FAQ page.
Yes, I get asked that a lot, is can FAQ pages show up for featured snippets? And the short answer is yes, they can. The longer answer is it's quite rare. So we have conducted a study many times now. We're rerunning it again now. We look at almost nearly 1.5 million search queries.
Wow.
And we look through them all to see how many of them have featured snippets. And so just so everybody understands, the queries, we picked the queries to have a pretty good chance of returning a featured snippet. So, we didn't ask the question, how much money does it cost to buy Coca-Cola, because that's a commercial query. We asked a lot of really good informational questions, right? So 1.5 million of them. And that returned almost 400,000 featured snippets, right? FAQ pages were rare. There are some, but it's not the broader user experience that Google is looking for. The other thing that was clear is, at least as of today, structured data doesn't help you get a featured snippet. So I think in the future, structured data is going to become more and more important to this. I really believe that. But the The problem for Google is if they rely on webmasters to put everything in structured data the best way possible for them to pull out information for a featured snippet, they wouldn't have very many featured snippets because webmasters aren't good at doing that. So Google is building their algorithm. This is really important for people to understand. Google, this is where we're going to start edging towards the voice conversation.
Okay.
The featured snippet algorithm sits on top of the existing Google algorithms, Google ranking algorithms. We know that because you don't rank in the top 10 in a normal search algorithm, pretty much have zero chance of getting a featured snippet. Okay? So that's good to know. But what it says is the featured snippet algorithm first relies on the traditional algorithm to surface 10 candidates. And then based on that, new algorithms are run. These are the featured snippet selection algorithms to try to find the one best answer to the question, right? And the one best answer might not come from the thing that's in position 1 with the traditional algorithms. We all know that, right? Might be in position 2, 3, 4. Gets less frequent as you get down toward position 10, but you can definitely have things show up as low as position 10 that get the featured snippet. But it's a whole new algorithm, and what that algorithm is designed to do is to pick the one canonical best answer. This is it. This is the best answer. It's so much the best answer, we're going to show it above the regular search results. And now we got to think about, why is Google investing so much in that? Okay, first of all, it's probably a good thing just for traditional web search, but it's because in the world of voice, you get only one answer. And thinking about what that means is, well, for a user, if I do a regular web search and the answer I'm looking for is in position 3, it's not a big deal. I had to scroll a little bit more. I still find the answer I was looking for. I'm happy as a clam, off to the races. In the world of the voice, one answer is given. If it isn't the one I want, and it was the second or third choice that you didn't give me, I'm unhappy. That's why getting this canonical best first answer right is so important. Sorry, I'm talking a lot. You should ask more questions.
And one thing I want to add to your great answer is that if you're on a mobile device, we would like this answer to be like an instant answer. We would like it very fast. We'd like it to be there. We don't have enough time to scroll. Of course, if we don't wait for something, for example, or we just have to spend some time, we like to spend some time. But in all other situations, we just need and we want to see this answer immediately, without so much scroll.
No, it's a very good addition to my answer, because when I'm on my mobile phone, it's like I might be walking down a city street somewhere, right? So it's like people might say, "What do you mean you don't have time to scroll on your device? You just do this." No, I'm walking down the street. I've got a bag on one hand, slung over my shoulder. I'm looking around me because I'm trying to find out whatever it is I'm looking for, and I just did a search on something that I happen. You're in a very limited bandwidth situation, right? When that's going on, so it's another one of those environments where, yeah, you want that right first answer immediately.
Absolutely, yes. So Eric, do you believe, from what we understand, there is no universal recipe for getting future snippets? But do you believe the future snippets are related to the business vertical or niche? In other words, what do you think about that?
So I do believe it's very it differs by niche. Absolutely. So this speaks to another common myth that's out there, which is that a lot of people will tell you that featured snippets, you want to get featured snippets, implement a bulleted list. Okay? And that all featured snippets come from bulleted lists. Or somebody else might say they all come from paragraph. And that might be true at a given market. I know one marketplace where almost 50% of the featured snippets are extracted from tables. Literally tables in the code. All right. So that right there tells you that there is no such thing as a universal recipe. And so let's back up. What would cause that? Why would Google do something different in the real estate marketplace from the appliances marketplace versus buying antivirus software? And why would it treat those different marketplaces differently? Because what's going on for the users is different.
So, in other words, you mean that we have to make our research, or we have to do our homework first, researching what people are talking about, what are the phrases they use, what kind of questions do they ask, and think about the logic structure of these questions and the relatedness between them, and after that, what we can do in the form of content to provide the best answer, and combine these all answers on one page, a whole rich value page.
Yeah, no, I think that's very accurate. The other thing you can do to help more, just look at what Google is currently showing for featured snippets in your marketplace and see how that's structured. So in the United States, for example, if you are searching for an apartment, there's many different sites that offer apartment finding services here. If I have a new entry, if I have a site in the apartment market space and I want to figure out how to get featured snippets, I should go look and see what kind of content is getting it for other people currently. Think about how I can make it better, but also look at the code structure. And by the way, it's the apartment finding market space that's nearly 50% of the featured snippets are coming from the table.
One additional and I think interesting question. Which are the most, can you classify some of the most wild feature snippets you have ever seen? Something weird and interesting you have seen on Google.
Sure. So, gosh, I'm not going to remember the whole thing. Hang on. I got to do this right.
Just one or two examples, whatever you can remember.
Yeah, no. Give me a second here.
Yes, of course.
So I want to do this for you. And all right. So if I ask the question, why are fire trucks red?
What a question.
The answer is because they have 8 wheels and 4 people on them, and 4 plus 8 makes 12, and there are 12 inches in a foot, and 1 foot is a ruler, and Queen Elizabeth was a ruler, and Queen Elizabeth was also a ship, and the ship sailed the seas, and the seas have fish, and the fish have fins, and the Finns fought the Russians, and Russians are red, and fire trucks are always rushing around. Is that good enough?
Absolutely.
So the reality is, by the way, here's the even more fun fact. That is the correct answer, because the answer to why are fire trucks red is a Monty Python skit, and I just read you the answer to that. And so when people enter that query, that's actually probably what they're looking for, is the Monty Python skit. But it's a lot of fun to do that at conferences because people enjoy the answer a lot. But that's one of my craziest ones right there.
It's absolutely great for sure.
So Eric, different type of content like infographic, video, podcast, and some like this can help us to win our feature snippets. Many times discussed in SEO community this.
So yeah, so first of all, it's still a pretty text-oriented algorithm. In the case of a podcast, if you have a transcript, that could lead to a featured snippet. That way. You can get featured snippets from the description for your video in YouTube. Google does look there, and I've seen in the past YouTube video descriptions get used as featured snippets. Not frequent, but it happens. But it's still pretty texty in terms of its structure. So an infographic, if it didn't, if everything was literally in the image, then Google wouldn't pull that out today. But if you have an infographic where things are in there in text, and you're able to create something that tells a complete story, kind of like we talked about in the beginning, then I think it could work.
Okay. So different type of content can help, but I remember one of your case study. You recommend to use high quality images, and this will help us a little bit. Today it's absolutely same, or?
So yeah, no, actually, Google in many queries does like to show images, and for with the featured snippet. And so having high quality images is a good idea, and it actually gives you kind of a second opportunity, because at times Google will show a text answer from one site and an image from a different one.
Yeah.
So a second opportunity, but for the image to work for you, you still need to have really good content behind it.
Okay.
So, in the terms of the future of future snippets, what do you think about? Do you expect any future elements to be added to the future snippets? An expansion, maybe something that is already intended, or do you think that you'll see some new elements there, like let's say, for example, quiz or direct content forms there, or kind of let's say, I don't know, FAQs or something like drop downs or something like that. Just what do you think we can envisage in the future of emerging any new elements in the future snippets?
So I think that they will probably begin to vary more by device.
Mm-hmm.
So the featured snippet I get on a desktop might have a different experience than I would via Google Home, for example, or just anything leveraging the Google Assistant. Could be running on your smartphone too. Or what I might see in a mobile device could change. I think as Google gets much better with different types of media, that they'll do more with images and video. That stuff is still pretty primitive. We've done a lot of testing. We haven't published a study, and here's your hint, yet, about comparing image recognition capabilities of Google versus IBM versus Microsoft, and actually Adobe is now in this game too. But I could tell you from the preliminary testing we're doing of those image recognition engines, they still get a ton of stuff wrong, and really miss a lot of what's actually in the image. So it has a long way to go. It's growing by leaps and bounds, and there are certain things that they're really good at. They're really good at picking out faces, and knowing that it's a face, because that's been invested in a lot. There's certain other areas that they've invested in. As that technology keeps developing, then I think we'll see more and more stuff happen where what I get my smartphone will differ from what I get, on my desktop versus, through the Google Assistant. They get very different answers.
Absolutely right. Thank you. Great. So let's go to the next topic, most trendy topic today. Everybody talks about voice search. We are all interested in this absolutely new area of searching. And let's start talking about your observations on voice search, serving on the SERP. Do you see an increase in the voice searches on Google? And actually, what's the current situation when it comes to voice search in the USA?
So I think, first of all, we don't get any direct data from Google or anyone else about how much voice search is.
No, your observations, your practical observations.
But I'm going to give you my observations. But I can tell you that two things are true. That the search volume using voice is still relatively small. All right. But it's growing rapidly. So what do I mean by relatively small? It's well less than 5% of queries. And so it has a very, very long way to go. So I think when we think about voice search and the opportunity it represents, it's like, well, if it's so small, then why are we paying attention to it? Well, we know that something like 20% or so of U.S. households have a Google Home or Amazon Echo device in them, or the primary modality interfacing with them is voice, obviously. And that's conditioning people to use voice more. We know from research that I did personally that approximately 67% of the world's internet-connected devices are not a PC, smartphone, or a tablet. That means they have no normal screen and no normal keyboard. And for that matter, no normal search box, right? So yes. How are you going to interface with those devices, right? That's a big question to ask. And we also know from our studies in the U.S. that we did a survey a couple years running of a little over 1,000 people to see what their voice usage looked like. And we know that more and more people are getting comfortable using voice commands with their devices in public. Okay? And that's a big mental barrier to cross. So the fun statistic I always like to share is that in the United States, 23% of people that we surveyed said they felt comfortable using voice commands with their phone in public restrooms.
Whoa.
Okay, it's like you could get into a whole fun discussion of what queries are they asking while they're there in the restroom.
Yes, that was my question. Actually, that was what I was going to ask you right now.
And I don't have that data. And to be honest, I don't want that data. But there's also a large number of people comfortable using voice commands in public theaters. And it's like, really, but the key thing here is to as people are getting more and more used to the idea that voice is a normal form of input to a device, right? More and more people will begin to use it more often. So let's just do a very simple scenario. I have Nest thermostats in my home, okay, in my house. So, and right now the Nest thermostat, if I want to change the temperature, I go up and I turn the dial. And if I want to, put it into eco mode, where it kind of, runs a program where it manages the heat according to a specific set of things, I have to go up and click several things, and I never remember. I don't remember what the steps are. So I have to go up and I poke at it, and then the screen comes up, and it's that thing. And wouldn't it be so much easier if I just said, "Hey Nest, set the temperature to 20 degrees Celsius here," okay? And it would just do it. And I don't even have to go over to it. I'm sitting here in my chair, I'm sitting back, and it's over there. Hey Nest, and of course that would be easier, right? These are the kinds of things that will cause voice to continue to grow. But it's just easier. It has to be, for people to change how they're doing things, it has to be materially, significantly easier than the old way. That's what drives change.
Yeah. So Eric, is it possible for a website to be optimized for voice search? I know it's a very tricky question, but sometimes some comments in Twitter, and everybody asks John, you, and more guys from the community. What do you think about this?
So we know that voice search, speaking from the Google side of things, the answer is different on the Amazon ecosystem.
Yeah.
But for Google, you can break the query set for things related to informational things into two major buckets to start. First bucket is questions that come from public domain knowledge, right? So, how old is Barack Obama, right? Would be a public domain question. Google is going to have that information in its own database. Then I answer it. There's no way to optimize for that.
Yeah.
You'll never get it.
Yeah.
So, but there's the other type of questions for which Google doesn't have a public domain answer. And we know that among those questions, that a very large percentage is drawn from featured snippets.
Yes.
So today, if you go and open up your Google Assistant and you ask it how to implement a no-follow tag, you'll probably get the stonetemple.com answer for that. We have the featured snippet for that. And it's because we optimized the page, get the featured snippet. This was well before voice search was a thing that we did this. We did this 4 or 5 years ago. We've had the featured snippet for that ever since. But by having optimized for that, we're now effectively optimized for voice. That's the first step. But there's more that you can do. The next part is to realize that both Google Assistant and Amazon Echo, or Alexa on Amazon Echo, have the ability to implement apps. In the Alexa world, we call it an Alexa skill. And in the Google Assistant world, we call it an actions on Google. I hate the Google name, but that's what they call it. So we're stuck with it. And so we have an actions on Google app. And we When there isn't a featured snippet available, Google will sometimes pull the answer from an Actions on Google app. The way it does that is, let's say you ask a question like how to implement a no index tag, for which we currently don't have a featured snippet with our website. But Google knows we have an app. It might say, Stone Temple has an answer for that. Would you like to hear it? And then actually give the answer from our app. So other way you can optimize for voice search in the Google ecosystem is to build Actions on Google apps. And it's a very interesting way to play into voice search. You can win two ways. One is you get users to know about your app, and they'll ask for your app. They'll say, you know, actually.
Yeah, I remember in San Jose in SMX Masterclass, you showed this. I remember.
Yeah, I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks.
ask Stone Temple, what is a no index tag? Okay, sorry, it didn't speak it, unfortunately, but it said, okay, let's get Stone Temple, and then it gave the answer. This is a tag that can be placed in the head section of the web page to instruct search engines to not index the page. Okay. So normally, and I apologize for some reason, usually it speaks it out loud.
Yeah, I remember.
But the Google Assistant is still a little finicky at times, but and it does it in my voice, because we actually recorded my voice to be the answer for all those things. But so if users know to invoke the app, they can certainly ask any question that we're able to answer. In the case of our app, it's about 400, 450 questions. The other thing that can happen is, as I said, Google might suggest to users who don't know to ask Stone Temple that you have an answer for it.
Okay, can you also define the voice search queries people are asking on the mobile devices or any other device with microphone as long tail or even more complicated? Do you believe that there is a difference between the answers provided on mobile phone, desktop computer, and, for example, Google Home Assistant?
So, so from a voice search perspective, I don't think I've seen significant differences at this point. Okay, it's a little hard to tell, and I'll explain why. I could have a coworker of mine come in and ask a query on, say, on their PC, and then I could ask the same query on my PC, and we might get different results. So same device, same location, we're sitting 12 inches apart, and we can get different results. So the reason why that's the case is that Google is always testing. And the reason why I chose the example of we both use our laptop computers is because it's even beyond just device. They're testing everything all the time. Well, yeah, I mean, we're testing a lot of things all the time. So, but more often than not, the overwhelming majority of the time for, like, if the question is how to implement a no-follow tag, I'll get the same answer on Google Assistant on my smartphone, or typing on in Chrome on my smartphone, and the same answer on my laptop computer, and the same answer from Google Home. And they're all, you know, are one answer. That's a featured snippet we've had for over 4 years. So, and so I know this. I know we're kind of on voice, but I do actually want to just add this extra little bit about featured snippets. It's important to understand there's a difference between getting one and keeping one. Not too hard to get Google to test
Okay.
your page as a good source for a featured snippet. But if it doesn't like the user engagement it sees, it'll dump you. So, and this really plays back into the world of voice. That one reason why you might see different answers on different devices is because Google is testing so many different things as a potential source for a featured snippet. It might just be that they're testing different things. The right way to test the answer to your question, Dito, is to take one of those queries where it's been the same answer for a long time, see if you see some variation there.
One related question, Erica. What do you think about FCL, First Content Vault? Does it have connection with featured snippets for Google or no?
I'm sorry, what was that?
First Content Vault. Have connection, yeah, the time for First Content Vault.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's not something that we've ever tested explicitly. So, I mean, no question that speed is a huge part of the user experience, especially on, you know, again, here I am walking down the city street with my smartphone, typing in one hand, carrying my briefcase in my other hand, dodging pedestrians who are going by me, trying not to, you know, trip over a dog as it's going by. So, I mean, I want my answer quick, right? I want it very, very fast. So I could see that it would be a material factor in your ability to earn and keep a featured snippet, and therefore be eligible for a voice search result.
I ask because we have one test about one project. We win 24 featured snippets for a half year. We changed the type of page to AMP, related mobile pages, and this helps us to serve the content faster. And I think it's have some connection First Content Vault and Full Content Vault with featured snippets.
Yeah, so like I say, I don't have data to prove it. I believe you that it's quite possible that it is an issue or a factor that could work to your benefit if your page ranks faster. Because the thing for people to internalize about Google is Google makes more money as a result of serving better results to users.
Yeah.
So when I talk about why Google always tries to give the best results to users, it's not because I believe that they're Mother Teresa. They're the most altruistic organization or people on
What is that today?
It's a business.
It's
yeah,
for sure.
But serve their business to give good results. So, you know, does that mean that in some case they won't find a way to experiment with ways to put more ads in the search results? Of course they do, right? But you know, just another data point about that is I saw a study recently from BrightEdge, and what they saw is that even in today's world, where you know we have some queries with like everything above the fold is an ad, 76% of the clicks are still going to organic.
6%.
76.
Oh,
6.
Okay.
So 3/4, basically.
Yeah.
The users have spoken, right? So Google can't portray their users. You know, they can push the envelope a little bit, but if they go too far, it's going to go very sour on them. They know that, and this is the reason why they always try to more and more just the overall user experience and their ability to get a complete answer to the question that they really asked, not the one that just showed up in the search box. The actual whole set of questions they had in mind. That's what they're rewarding.
Yeah. John, we have one question from our audience. You know this question, of course, many times from every conference, maybe. You know about this. So they ask about voice answer, but what will be happen with voice answer with ads, Google Ads? You know, voice answer with ads. Can you believe Google will push this like extension or like option?
Sorry, I didn't quite get the question.
Voice answer, but with ads, with Google Ads.
Oh, with ads. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Understand. Yeah. So I think on commercial queries that you will be offered ways to buy.
Okay.
I think that will happen sooner than a more general advertising schema. But it's a big challenge for Google to figure this out, as it is for Amazon. Is how do we make money on this? They need to make money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, and they have to figure that out. It's very clear they haven't figured it out yet. The reason why we don't see much happening with it yet goes back to the question about how much voice usage is there really, right?
Yeah.
So right now, they're kind of in a battle with, you know, Amazon here in the States for a smart speaker market, and more broadly with Siri for the personal assistant market. And so the land grab is very much in play right now. The experimentation with how to advertise, I'm not surprised that we haven't seen it yet. By the way, even though Amazon was earlier in the market with the Amazon Echo device than Google was with Google Home, since December of 2017, Google Home has been outselling Amazon Echo. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Just one small additional question. Do you believe that Google will start showing more commercial questions as future snippets? And do you believe that they will add, for example, any commercial elements like buying buttons there directly from the search results, or showing additional information so the user will make the decision way easier to buy something or something like that? What do you think about this?
So I do think that they will find out or figure out how to do something like that somewhere down the road. I think let's go very extreme with a query. Let's say someone says, buy Nikon digital camera now. Okay, that's a pretty extreme query. That says, you know, it's like, I want to buy a digital camera, a Nikon digital camera right now. So you're going to find scenarios like that where the commercial intent is very high. And so it kind of goes back to the data I shared about the percentage of queries that are going to organic versus paid. You know, so users know when they have a buying intent.
Mm-hmm.
So, and why do 24% of the people click on ads rather than organic? Even though it's pretty clear from the data that most users probably recognize the difference, in spite of, you know, not being very prominently marked. It's the people who click on the ads is because they know they want to buy something. They actually want to be sold to right now. The action they have in mind is, I want to buy. So I don't want to read an article. I don't want to read reviews. I've entered this query. My intent is I'm going to go buy something. I have queries like this all the time, right? You know, where I know I have the set of things that I buy from Amazon or other sites, and even though I can go to Amazon and search on it, I do tend to do it at Google first, and you know, I go boom right to the page where I know I can buy. So the fact of the matter is that a lot of people have that buying intent. So Google's going to find a way to serve it, and that's the first thing they're going to figure out how to monetize.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Eric, and one very interesting question from our audience. How good would you rate the voice recognition software for voice search to be? For example, on YouTube, they have automatic subtitle detection, but it's nowhere near perfect. What do you think about this?
Question is exactly right on. There are definitely major issues. I'll give a very simple example. I have both Google Home and the Amazon Echo at my house. I have 2 Google Homes and 3 Echoes currently. And the main thing we use them for at the house, to be honest, is home control. So I'll walk into my office and I'll say, Alexa, turn on home office lights, or turn home office lights on, something like that. And maybe 1 in 5 times, I'll get the response back, sorry, there are multiple devices with that name. And it's like, no, they're not. I only have one home office thing defined. It's just home office lights. It's not like a query where I might mispronounce it dramatically. I might say Permafest. I didn't say, I said home office, just the same as every other time. So the speech recognition still has a way to go. And it's still going to keep evolving and keep getting better. It's pretty good, but sometimes it can be pretty frustrating. I can have times at home where I walk into my family room, which is where I have one of my Google Homes, and say, hey, Google. And it doesn't wake up.
Yes, absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
It's like, hey, Google, why the hell didn't you wake up?
Yeah.
Scary. So,
Yes.
okay. Anyway, I apologize. We're kind of at the end here, and I really do need to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, we have the final part of our webinar.
It's a fun part, actually.
Yeah, we have a question about most appropriated alt tag for the following image. Now, our support team will send the image on the chat. You'll see, and you can, yeah. What is the most appropriate alt tag for the following image?
So I would say Jamie from Mythbusters. Are you familiar with the show? Mythbusters?
Yeah.
Yes. So to me, because of the beard that Mark now has, he absolutely looks like Jamie from Mythbusters.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that was a very, very great idea, original and very creative idea for alt tag, definitely.
Yeah.
So we're in the last minute of our webinar. Please share your final words with our audience and your thoughts about this webinar in general. And also summarize some future things we will see in SEO, for example, in the next 6 months or the next year. Just your opinion, your predictions.
So, well, I do think we'll see voice search continue to grow. and become more important. I think we'll see more brands succeed with Alexa skills and actions on Google Apps. I think we will see more happening with, excuse me, image search. I think that's going to become more and more important as visual recognition technology improves. So I think those are three of the big areas. And of course, because of what I said about voice search, the optimizing for featured snippets is going to become, remain really important. I think those are the really big areas.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Eric. We appreciate your advice and your knowledge. Thank you, everybody, for being with us today. Thank to our team for their great work during this webinar. We will be expecting you next month and very soon we will announce our next guest. Meanwhile, don't forget to follow us in YouTube, where you can find a lot of useful knowledge and information. Again, thank you so much, Eric, for being with us and for sharing your amazing knowledge and tips. See you all the next time.
All right. Thank you guys so much, too. Really appreciate your time today. This is great fun.
Thank you so much. Honored to be with us today.
All right. Thank you.